Hey there, YouTube. This is Sign19 coming with you with another deck profile. Well, not really a deck profile. It has come to my attention on Facebook that a lot of people have a lot of questions about this deck that you guys see in front of you. So I'm going to give my opinions on the deck, my deck choices, and how the deck just plays out altogether. And answer some of those questions that I've been getting on Facebook. So I hope you guys enjoy what I have to bring you, and I hope a lot of your questions are answered by the end of this. So, I'm going to remove the G zone, and then we're going to get right into it. So, of course, I played 4 copies of Barrow. I played 2 copies of uh, Curtis, and I also played 4 copies of Sherahat. Now, I'm going to go into my reasons for why I play these units at the numbers that I just said that I play them at. First of all, Barrow Magnus is going to be your main vanguard. You always want to have him on first grade 3 turns so you can do the Barrow Magnus plays. Now, besides that, the reason why we play 4 because Persona Riding is a thing in this deck. You do want a Persona Ride to get your front row plus 10k, just like in Standard. Now, the reason why I play Sherhold is also just here to be his main darkness ability is that when he swings, your opponent is not allowed to guard with grade zeros, and he gets plus 5k power. But he's also here as a backup vanguard, just in case I can't ride into Barrow. At least his stride ability allows me to get an extra 2 soul charge in and things like that. Curtis is explanatory. He's just here to be on place soul charge 2. And I play him at 2. So you really don't ever see Curtis, but he's just there to help. The reason why I play mainly these two is with the Gostil Stride. By combining these 2 skills together, you get 5, maybe sometimes even 7 attacks out with other cards in the deck, and you also get to abuse Sherahat's guard restrict skill. Now, most people may be thinking that yes, my opponent is just going to guard the Vanguard attack, but you have to realize most people nowadays, especially in the current meta, they all play grade 0 draw PGs. Sherahat stops grade 0s from being used as guardians. So this stops PGs in most accounts. It's not going to stop PGs in all accounts because if he had this a Sentinel restrict, then yes, he'll be way better. But in my testing and in my play circle, most people that I come up against are playing the draw PGs or even the Sentinel 30k shield units, but those are still grade zeros. And most decks that do play grade one PGs, I just have to tweak my strategy around a little bit just to compensate for that. But in most cases or not, I'm dealing with a lot of grade 0 PGs. So that's the reason why I use these two, and I find that running Sherhut is a better strategy altogether. Now, yes, people have told me that I should be running either Brufus or, more importantly, grade 3 Gostil as my boss units. Now, the thing that I have to say about that is that, yes, these 2 cards are amazing, and I've had them in my deck before I ran this combo. But the reason why I'm choosing this combo over this combo is simply because in the upcoming ban list that we're getting, Gostil might get hit. So I'm just building a deck just for that reason. That Gostil might get hit. If Gostil doesn't get hit, of course I might go back or play some variation or combination of these cards together. But I'm just building a deck that's saying that if Gostil gets hit, I need a better option for my DI deck. And this is what I came up with. And I know a lot of people are talking about No Life King. Now, there are 3 reasons why I do not play No Life King. One, I understand No Life King is the better build. I agree with you. But I do not like net decking. If you don't know what that is taking someone else's idea and using it as your own. I don't see a problem with that. If you do it, you do it. Me personally, it just takes the fun out of deck building for me. I personally don't like it. 2, I don't own the card. It's a currently speaking in my current budget, budget, I can't afford the card. And three, I don't find it fun playing or playing against it. It's really overpressing, which I understand. That's the point of the card, but I don't find it fun. This I find fun, and most people who I play against find this fun to play against. That's the main issue there. That's the main thing that I focus on when I'm playing Vanguard is to have fun. If I'm not having fun or my opponent's not having fun, I don't want to play it. So those are my grade 3 choices. Those are the reasons why I play my grade 3 choices. We're going to go into my grade 2 choices. So give me a second to lay them all out for you. Okay. These are all of my grade 2 choices. I play 4 Emblem Master, I play 4 Phantasm Executioner, and I play 4 Blood Sacrifice Ruvine. Now, we're going to go one by one. The reason why I play 4 copies of Emblem Master is that his on-play skill allows me to soul charge a bunch of cards into the soul, helping me get to that 10 or even 15 count for Baron Magnus. That is really the only reason why I play him. I really don't play him for his guard ability, nor do I play him for his power ability, because usually I'll have all 4 copies of him in the soul by the time I go into my grade 3 turn. So I really don't play him for that. The reason why I play Execution is for his simple skill is that he is quite similar to another card in Standard. And that card being in my opinion, he is very similar to Electro Spartan. He is very similar to Electro Spartan in Standard for Baron Magnus. Simple fact of the matter is, he is just here to do a soul charge too. If he's able to pop something on my opponent's field, more power to it. But really, he's here for only one reason, and that is to sacrifice himself to perform a soul charge too, helping me get to that 10-15k threshold. And now, the last card that I play as my grade 2s, and what seems to be the topic of conversation on Facebook, Ruvine. Now, for those who know or don't know, Blood Sacrifice Ruvine has a 2-card combo to perform a counter charge with Rakalakas. Now, Ruvine says when he's placed, he can still charge 1 card from either your drop zone or your damage zone. And if you take from your damage zone, you have to put a card from your top of your deck face down. But if you soul charge Rakalakas, you get to counter charge 1. Now, people have been telling me I should be playing Killer Tail or I don't seem to have it in here right now, or The Edge in the Dark. Now, the issues with these cards are plainly simple. They do not scale well with Baron Magnus. And the simple fact is that when Baron Magnus uses his full ability, all cards on my board are going to go into the soul. Which means for Killer Tail to get her counter charge off, she needs to have 3 of her copies into the soul already. And 1 copy on board. So when I go into Baron Magnus, she goes into soul, meaning I'm never using her counter charge for the rest of the game. Fine, it's great in the early game, but I don't need counter charge that much in the early game. I'm willing to take damage in the early game. And if they damage star me, I have other ways to get it further down the road. So it doesn't really matter. I understand Killer Tail is an amazing card. It may be the better card. And in the long scape of Dark Irregulars, I'm not disputing that. But I find that this combo scales well better with Baron Magnus in the long run. For reasons that, even if I'm not able to use Ruvine's skill for the counter charge, if I have a Vakalakas in my hand and I know that I have Baron Magnus 15k soul on deck, I would call this to the field just to put it into soul, just to give the Vanguard an extra plus 10k, making it harder for my opponent to guard. Because like I stated before when I was talking about the grade 3s, a lot of people play grade 0 Sentinels. A small group of people play grade 1s, and then on top of that, I don't go up against enough protect decks to worry about it. in my current meta. So giving plus 10k on top of the enormous amount of power that I'm already getting off of the God Steel Stride, it's worth it in the long run, in my opinion, because it makes my opponent have to work that much harder just to guard an extra 10k power buff. And again, it's usually not just the one Vakalakis I'm putting on board to do that. Sometimes I have 2, sometimes I have 3, so I mean that's an additional plus 20 or 30 going on top of the Vanguard they have to deal with. So that's the reasons why I play these. Now, I will admit there are better options and there are better strategies that I could play, but I find that this works better and this scales much better with Barrow Magnus as the Vanguard. I would not recommend this if you were playing things like God Steel or No Life King, because it would not benefit the deck whatsoever. But this is just what I find that works better for me. So next, I'm going to go into my grade 1 choices. So as we just stated, Vakalakis is one of my grade 1 choices. I also play 4 copies of this. I play 2 copies of Alluring Succubus. And those are all of my grade 1 choices. I play 4 copies of Werewolf Keeger, 2 copies of Alluring Succubus, and 4 copies of Vakalakis. Now, we've already talked about Vakalakis, so I'm not going to go over it again with you. Now, the reason why I play Werewolf Keeger over something like Dimension Creeper or V Dimension Creeper is the simple fact that he has a guardian skill that works similar to Vakalakis' skill. When you guard with Werewolf Keeger, at the end of the guard step, he puts himself into the soul. That's just another way to get him to soul. That way, later on, you can soul blast him and banish him to soul charge 2. It's just an easier way to get this into the soul if your hand is flooded with them. Because if you're playing Dimension Creeper, you have to do 3 to 4 different steps just to get it into soul from hand. Where this, all you got to do is just throw it to the Guardian Circle, and it puts itself into soul. In my opinion, it's a better Dimension Creeper, and I would rather play this over the the V era Dimension Creeper, simply because I'd rather not counterblast the Soul Charge 3. Yes, I know Dimension Creeper goes back to the deck, but I'd rather not waste a counterblast on that. So that's why I play Keeger instead of Dimension Creeper. Now, the reason why I play Alluring Succubus over the other grade 1 Succubus, which is... Do I have her? No, she's in the other deck. Which is, the name escapes me. The other Succubus is simply because instead of doing a look at the top 5 for a grade 3 and then have to discard something, she's a Counterblast 1. I know I just talked about Counterblast with Dimension Creeper, but she's a Counterblast 1. Put herself into soul, so she's adding to the soul count. Check the top 7 for 2 grade 3s, up to 2 grade 3s. Reveal up to 2 grade 3s, add 1 to the hand and 1 to the soul. Which means all I have to do is really show 1 grade 3, add it to the hand, and then I had to discard nothing for her skill. She's a better digger. She adds to the soul count. And if I need to have the... And if I just so need to have the Sherhat into the soul, because I couldn't get one in there earlier, just to do that last turn play for when I go to my strike turn, she helps get it in there. She helps affiliate that. So that's the reason why I play her over the other Succubus. I can't remember the name. But that's the reason why I play her over the look at top 5 search for a grade 3 card. So those are my grade 1 choices. That's the reason why I play them. Oh, not to mention that we're getting a triple rare foiling of this card in the new V collection, so I'm a little biased. Now, I'm going to go over my grade 0 choices. So, Okay, so these are all of my grade 0 choices, right? So I'm gonna go over each one of them and reasons why I play them. So Jack here is my starter. This is Spare Jack of Nightmare Land. So Jack works the exact same way as V era Edge in Darkness. When a unit rides him, you get to draw one card, choose one card from your hand, and put it into your soul. So besides the fact that he starts your soul charging from grade 1, he allows you to put anything into soul, whether that be a grade 3, a grade 1 Keeger, a grade 1 Vakalakis to get plus 10k on your first grade 1 turn if you're going second and attacking. He allows you to put anything. Even if you have Magnetic Assassin in your hand, you can put a Magnetic Assassin in your hand into soul just so you know you have it in there for later. So I find this as my favorite starter in DI. Not to mention that he's a Nightmare Land unit, which I am a huge fan of the Nightmare Land sub-clan and Dark Regulars, which I'm hoping Bushiroad does something with in the future, because I believe it's the last sub-clan that they can actually touch, because we will not be getting the Amon core for reasons that I'm not going to go into. If you have any questions on that, you can look it up. We will not be getting the Amon anytime in the future, or probably never. So I think Nightmare Land is the next subclan that they can touch for V Premium in Vanguard. So I'm looking forward to seeing what they do with it, if they do anything with it. Next is the Dark States Overtrigger. It's explanatory. I'd rather have 10k and a crit on board all the time for my Vanguard swing. At all time. Over having 2 units with 10 million power, great. I don't care. I'd rather have my Vanguard hitting for damage, high damage, all the time. Next is the Magnet Assassin. Oh, not to mention, I forgot to say one thing about Jack. Jack has a stride skill. You've never seen a grade 0 before with a stride skill. So his stride skill says when a unit strides, you can pop him out of the soul, superior call him out of the soul, and give 1 unit plus, and then soul charge 1. He affiliates darkness on stride turns. And then with Barrel Magnus throwing all of your cards back in the soul, you basically throw him back into the soul, and then when your next stride, do it again to affiliate darkness. I've never seen any grade 0s with a stride skill before I saw Jack. So, back to Enigmatic Assassin. Enigmatic Assassin is what helps affiliate that 5 to 7 attack card combo that I will explain later in the video. Basically, Enigmatic Assassin says during the beginning of a battle step, not the beginning of your battle turn, but a battle step. So, I mean, each time you about to attack, that's a battle step. Which means that this card can come out of the soul. If you have 10 or more cards, it gains 5k. If you have 15 or more, it gains an additional 10k. So it becomes a 20k beater by itself. That means you can have a 20k booster or a 20k attacker. And if you know your opponent hasn't been hitting any damage checks, any damage triggers, and it's almost there, you can literally go 1 attack, 2 attack, got still Barrel Magnus play, call out 2 more, that's 3, 4, 5, and Magnet Assassin becomes 6. You can literally get 6 to almost 7 attacks off in a turn. And not to mention, if you're running any stand triggers, you're going to have units standing. Well, you won't have any units standing per se, but it's ways to get to 7. So that's the reason why I play a Magnet Assassin. But a Magnet Assassin is only restricted to 1 copy in the deck. So getting it in the soul early is more important than anything else. That way you can affiliate that high attack combo. I play 4 copies of Monochrome Cat of Nightmare Land simply because it's a pseudo Omni trigger. And what I mean by that, it's a stand trigger. But once you do its skill, it soul charges a card, draws you a card, and counter charges you a card. So besides doing that roofing combo, this really is my main counter charger in my deck. So I don't even care if I'm not even able to do roofing skill fully to do that counter charge, because this right here In premium, this is your main counter charger, even if you have no other way to counter charge. Monochrome Cat is your counter charger. Soul Charger. +1 draw engine. And if you're getting lucky, you can do the skill maybe like 7 times in a turn because you keep drawing into copies of Monochrome Cat. And it's not a once per turn skill. So I'm going to go over these two cards very quickly. The reason why I play these cards over the G-Era counterparts for the Stride crit or the one card in Soul crit or the counter charge heal is simply because I am a fan of the Nightmare Land core. I rather play these because they have the Nightmare Land name. That is it. I know playing those other cards are more beneficial to me, but I rather play them because I like them. Simple as that. And of course, we play the Grade 0 March Rabbit of Nightmare Land for 3 reasons. 1, it's a Grade 0 Perfect Guard. 2, it's a draw trigger. 3, because it has the Nightmare Land name. I am a fan, once again, of the Nightmare Land core. I would like to play the Grade 1, 2, and 3 in my deck, but right now they are way too slow and do not scale well with Gasteel in any sense of the word. So, like I said, I'm hoping that Bushiroad does something with them in the next V set to allow me to make a brand new Nightmare Land deck for my personal use and for the channel. So those are all of my choices. So I'm going to go into a kind of a test hand to show you what the deck can do. So mainly the questions and issues were on the main deck, not the G-Zone. So I'm not going to go into the G-Zone. If you're interested in going and see what my deck profile is and fully with the G-Zone, I do have a video of this as a deck profile up. So you can go search that out. I put something up above here so you guys can see it when I do the editing for this video. But let's just go into a test hand so you can see how the deck is supposed to be run. And hopefully this answers a lot of your questions. So our test hand opens with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So of course we're going to throw back all of the triggers. Let's see what we get. 1, 2, 3. Okay, that looks like a good hand to me. So we'll shuffle and then we'll start our turn. Just for the sake of it, let's say we're going to go first. Okay? Okay, we draw for turn. That's a good card to get in hand. So now we ride Vakalakis. We activate Jack's skill to draw another card. That's another card in hand. That's another good card in hand. Then we're going to throw a Magnet Assassin into the soul. Now that it's in there, we don't ever have to worry about it we don't have to worry about it being damaged or anything. We don't have to worry about getting it in there because we know that it's in there already. It's just sitting now. And our soul count is now at 2. So then our opponent will go. Let's say we take a damage. Right? Now it's our turn. I call, I draw. That was my draw. So, let's see. Unfortunately, I got all 3 of them in my hand. And the 4th one's in the damage. So really, we won't even be able to do anything, really. So, sometimes it's like that. Sometimes it's not. So, we don't have anything on board to target. So, we would just swing. We got a Vakalakis. Okay. Our opponent's turn. We take 2 damage this turn. We got a draw PG. Draw. Second. Another draw PG. Draw again. So now it's our turn. Right? So I would go Barrow Magnus as my grade 3. And then I will start to call things down. Simply because I have these in my hand. So then I would call, skill, counterblast when target this, sending 3 copies of it from the deck into the soul. So all 3 copies are now in the soul. So now, it seemed like a bad thing on grade 2 turn, but now, because we did this, because we had those in our hand, we are now able to affiliate other skills. 3 cards into soul. And because we have a second one in our hand, I'll do it again. This time choosing Vakalakis. Then you might be wondering, well, now you're turning off the roofing skill with Vakalakis and things like that. Yes, I am, but I'm getting a lot more out of it, currently speaking. So because I did this, and Vakalakis is now going to the soul due to a skill effect, the Vanguard gets plus 10k for each Vakalakis going. That's an additional plus 20k to the Vanguard. And then just from there, call Curtis. Curtis' skill. Soul charge another 2 cards. So currently my soul count is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 cards in soul. Right? And my opponent is only at grade 2. There is nothing more that I want to do here, and I do not want to affiliate that 15 cards in soul, which you can see that I can, because I have 3 copies of this in the soul. I could do it, but I don't want to. Having 10 out of grade 3 is fine. But in addition to that, because I have 7 or more cards, these 2 get plus 5k and 5k shield. So what I would do now is just swing, counterblast 1, draw 1, twin drive, critical trigger, giving all power to the Vanguard because now it is plus 30, making it 43 and a crit. Then I would just give all of this power to one of my side columns, making it another plus 10 and a crit. Because like you said, they might perfect guard this, which I have no problem doing. I can just push another power over here. Then I would swing for damage, swing for crit pressure. Right? Now you may be wondering, well, I have no more face-up damage, Well, that only happens. Well, now my opponent has 2 choices. He can either damage deny me by attacking my sides, or try to push for game. I do have enough guards in my hand to at least guard for a few attacks. Right? So let's say he attacks my rear guards to damage deny me. Right? Fine. He passes the turn. Stand and draw. Oh, I rolled into another Barrel Magnus. So, plus 10k to the front row, draw a card. Now, I'm going to go into a Generation Stride. This is the reason why we play other Stride units other than Barrel Magnus. I'm sorry, other than Gasteel. For the simple fact is, I don't always have to go into something that's going to be worthwhile or crazy or whatever. I don't even have to use a skill. Just having that triple drive helps immensely. And then I would just go here to here. Actually, before I do that, I would just go Blood Sacrifice, throw the Sheharat into Soul for later, and then call it. Skill, Soul Charge 2. Call, skill, Soul Charge 2. And I'm ready for whenever they do give me damage. Swing, triple drive, heal trigger, power to the rear guard, final check. Right? And attack. So now my soul count is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17 cards in the soul. So basically that's what I'm looking at. So now we're going to go into a secondary test hand. Let's see what happens if I go second. So you see that there are ways to get what I'm looking for here. I don't have to go crazy first turn or whatever the case being. But the point of this deck is to tempo out the game until you're able to kill your opponent. You're not trying to do all the crazy stuff first grade 3 turn, wreck your opponent. Games like that aren't fun for anybody. Not for you and not for your opponent. I mean, if that's your idea of fun, go for it. I'm not gonna dispute on it with you, but that's not my definition of fun. So this time we're gonna go second. So from this hand, I want to keep the grade 3, the grade 2, and the grade 1, sending back the 3 and the 0. That's good. Okay. That's a pretty good, decent hand. Could be better. I could have a Emblem Master as my grade 2 target, but it's fine. So now we shuffle. So from here, just like before, I would ride, skill, draw 1, send 1 card into soul, attack, draw trigger check, boom, take a damage, stand, draw. I would ride Rufin, call, skill, soul charge 2, skill, soul charge 2, and just swing. Nothing crazy. Skill, take 2 damage. It's 1. That's 2. Stand, draw, ride Barrow Magnus. Then I would call, skill, counterblast 1, choosing Emblem Master as my target. Soul charge. Where are all my Emblem Masters? Maybe they're already in the soul. Yep, it would seem like all my other Emblem Masters are already in the soul. So we'll just add that one to the count. Right? So currently speaking, my Vanguard soul is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. We're 1 card short. Call, skill. Counterblast 1, send her to the soul. Now we're at 10. Check top 7 for a grade 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I want Curtis instead. Boom. Affiliated. Calling Curtis. Soul charge 2. Now I'm at 12 cards in the soul. So then I will attack. Counter blast, draw 1, twin drive, first check, heal trigger. We will then heal 1, power here, attack, and attack. Now, it's our opponent's turn. I can intercept. I'll usually take, if I'm at low damage, I would take the Vanguard attack, dealing me maybe 1 to 2 damage. And then because of the heal trigger, Generation Guard, Soul Charge 2. 5k shield to guard that last attack. Now I'm going to go into my stride turn. So because now I have 2 grade 3s in my hand, I'm going to Persona Ride, giving plus 10k power to the front row. Generation Stride. Go into Gastille. Now, Stride skill of Jack. Superior Call 1. Now, Gastille skill is online. That is now 1 count of 3k to the front row. All 3 units in the front row now got plus 3k. Right? Then I would use Gastille skill, Counterblast 1, flip a card face up, choose 2 units in my soul, put them into the soul. The Vanguard gains their abilities. Right? So that's now 3 counts of soul charging to the front row. Then I would go seems like I don't have any in this soul. Well, that's a bummer. Unfortunately, not every time everything goes the way that you plan or the way that you want it to go. So, seeing how I don't have any of the Werewolf Keegers in the soul, I can't produce any more soul charging. So, unfortunately, usually I would have maybe one or two in here just to affiliate some more soul charging. I usually don't ever brick this hard, so I'm sorry for you. Sorry that you guys had to see that, but I usually don't ever brick that hard. But let's just say for retro span that I was able to get at least another, let's say 6 more soul charges off, just for hypothetical speaking. Then I would go. This would be 9 times 3, which is, I believe, okay, I am not good at math. 2 nines is 18. Plus another 9 is what, 27, I think? Hit me down in the comments if I'm wrong. Please hit me down in the comments if I'm wrong. But then we would attack, go into battle step, superior call, canceling that out, superior call. That's now 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16 cards in soul. This is another 20k to the Vanguard. So that's already 1, 2, 3. This makes 4. Skill, Counterblast 1, Draw 1. Soul Charge 2. Call 2. Calling Shihara. And this is say, for instance, we had a second Shihara in soul. I'm just showing you how the combo is supposed to work. So right now that is 1, 2, 3. This is the 4th attack. Barrel Magnus' skill to call these out, gives plus 10k power. So these have plus 10ks on them. Their own skill, because of darkness, when they swing, they're going to have an additional plus 5k on them, making these 26k units. 26k units on attack because of darkness. And then God still gains the plus 10k in a crit from Barrel Magnus, and then the plus 5k in guard restrict from Shihara. Not to mention the plus 10k already to the front board due to the Persona ride. So these are now 36k units with guard restrict. And not to mention that God still saw 2 more cards go into the soul, getting him 2 more counts. So then we go triple drive. First check, we might as well give the plus 5k here. Second check, final check, heal trigger. We will heal 1 and give power over here. Now, just imagine if those two triggers were crits. I would have put them off to the side, making these criticals with guard restrict. But that's just sometimes how the dice rolls. You don't always get what you really want. But that would be the alternative best play for this. And then I would swing here with the weaker column of 20, 30, 41 guard restrict. And then I would, before I go into my next battle step, I would go skill of a Magnet Assassin, superior call. Another 20. So that's now 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 attacks. And then final 7. While pressuring your opponent for attacking while pressuring your opponent with guard restricts and criminals the entire time. That's basically how that 7 attack combo works in this build. Like I said, we didn't get the optimal things in our test hands. Sometimes it's just how the game works. Sometimes you brick, sometimes you don't. There's no getting around it. That's just RNG for the game of Vanguard. We all know this. But I hope that answered some questions that you guys had about the deck. If not, please leave me a comment down below. I will try to answer any more there if possible. I'm sorry that if it did not answer all of your questions in full. But again, this deck was built for two reasons. Well, three reasons. One, this is a alternative build to the ban list that's coming up in late September. We may be losing a lot of things, or we might be getting some restrictions to the Got Still Stride. In my opinion, we may be getting a restriction between the grade 3 Got Still and the grade 4. We may be getting bans on No Life King, anything that gives the loop for DI or a auto win button for DI. We may be getting restricted or just outright banned. So this is a alternative playstyle to, if we don't lose the Got Still grade 4 stride, to have something else that can match up pretty well with it. Two, I like Barrow Magnus. In standard, Barrow Magnus is my main deck that I use. I liked it, so I thought I might as well bring it over to premium, see how it does. And three, I've been a long-standing Dark Irregular player for a very long time, so I've been testing and tinkering with what the deck can do or cannot do and things like that. Just all around, just messing around the deck. This deck never stays the same for me. We may get new cards, I might want to test them out and things like that. The deck never stays the same. So I hope you liked what you saw. This answered some of your questions, maybe all of your questions. If not, leave some questions down below in the leave some questions down below. I will answer them as soon as I possibly can, and I will answer at least all of them if I see them. Sorry for if the rant went on a bit long. I'm probably going to trim it down a bit, but it's not. It's about a 42-minute video, just explaining what the deck can do, my reasons and my choices for what cards I chose and over which cards I didn't choose. Like I said, this deck is not set in stone. This is not the answer for DI. I'm just going to say that out loud and clear. This is not the answer for DI. This is just what I chose to play and what I chose to share with the community. So, hope you liked it. Please leave a like down below. Leave a thumbs down if you didn't like it. Either way, it helps. Subscribe. Please tell your friends. We're trying to reach 100 subscribers. We're trying to reach the milestone of 100 subscribers so that I can have a special guest on for that milestone. If you guys would like to see who that is, please help us get to 100 subscribers. And as always, I will see you all later.